introduce you to Mark Banks and John Andrews, both part of the Common Law Court of Wales.
Yeah, well, hello, John. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Tom.
It's the way to go, common law. I was just speaking to Guy Taylor, and we were discussing the very similar, very same subject. There's nothing else left for us now.
Well, I'd have to agree. I mean, your case highlights how the system has been placed in order to facilitate asset stripping and fraud of the working class man, Tom, basically.
Yeah, it's not just the working class. You'd be surprised the amount of people I know that were wealthy people, but compared to the sharks that we deal with, they're minnows, but we would consider them very rich people, and they've been robbed as well. So
yeah, I mean,
the class, upper class. Everybody's been under attack now. Yeah,
nobody's safe. We've done a broadcast in the week with an elderly lady called Anne Richardson. Yeah, it's terrible. It goes all the way. In actual fact, there's a fella on the island with the boys are on the island of Anglesey, and
Anglesey, I know it, yeah.
Yeah, there's a fella on there that's just been hit with a £400,000 fine for storing skips on his own land. I mean, it's horrific. The depths that these people will go to in order to facilitate their greed is just no bounds, Tom, is it?
Oh dear, that's a lot. It's like when you get a parking ticket for £20, and then before you know it, it's in the thousands.
Yeah.
They really are going to town on this. But I honestly do believe that we are now in the death throes of this situation. They're grabbing everything that they can before they basically have to concede to us.
Yeah, I was telling you the other day, Darren, this is all it takes is a parking ticket, and that's it. You've had it, and people don't realise this.
Yeah, I mean, once they get their hooks into you, you're quite right with all these charges. But that was the case with Anne, actually, wasn't it? It wasn't so much the incident that started the whole thing. It was just the accumulation of all the charges and the fines and everything on top. But that broke that woman, isn't it?
Yes, and they stole the land to start with.
Yeah.
You know, this is what started it off, and the 93-year-old woman was trying to get these people off her land, but they wouldn't listen. They cut the trees down, and
yeah,
they took her land, and that's where it all begun. And then now it's £67,000.
It's quite a harrowing story. But how are you and the family bedding up anyway, Tom?
Oh, we're fine. We by each time they attack us, it makes us stronger. But there again, we're in an exceptional position where the backing of the public is absolutely being mind-blowing.
Well,
every time I say it, I do mean it. We're so grateful for the support we've got, because the average family would have been sitting on the curb outside their home right now if it wasn't for good people like yourselves.
I got to be fair, Tom. I mean, you're really genuine. People get the feel in the videos that you've done that you're a man of the people, and your case certainly has galvanised the public in a way I've not seen before.
No, I really don't know why, but in fact I was speaking to someone the other day, and I looked at my first YouTube, and it's coming up to 30,000 views, but then I looked and it had been copied and reissued 12,000 times.
Well,
I really don't know how many times it's been viewed.
Well, yeah, well, we can times that by 30, I would say. So, Tom, how much time have you got this evening? Can you spare us half hour or what?
Yeah, of course I can, yeah.
Well, would you like to, if you wouldn't mind, that is, give our listeners just a brief synopsis, because although the awareness of your case is extraordinary, there will be one or two people who may be just finding out about it now.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Basically what happened in 1988, we took out a mortgage. Myself and my wife, young family, all the hopes in the world to look forward to, dreams I should say, and off we went on our little journey. until 1999 when my wife went in to get some further insurance, when the lady behind the counter told her that you do realise you'll never pay off your mortgage. Then she came home, told me, we contacted the asset stripping company known as Bradford and Bingley now, or Asset Management, which is now being taken over by another company, Granite Securities, I think it's called. They're passing it from like debt collector to debt collector. So they've got it now, but 1999 we contacted Bradford and Bingley, and they said, oh, we apologise, we didn't realise, but we've changed your contract. We've changed it to a part endowment and part repayment from the original endowment. And they sent my wife a bottle of champagne and some flowers and said it would never happen again, and it was not up to our usual standards. I put up a video if you want to look it up.
Yeah.
Titled it The People versus the Psychopaths. So you'll find that there. And I'll explain quite a lot of it, showing the documents as well that were produced in court. Then later on, 2002, they changed it again, and instead of being a part, it's just a total repayment. And we battled them ever since, up to date. We carried on paying up to 2013 August when we stopped. That was the end. In fact, we're getting an extra payment because, believe it or not, we don't trust these people, so we give an extra payment to make sure. And that's where we're at now after many court cases.
Yeah. And as far as these court cases go, actually I should say, they've kind of been hiding, Tom, of late, haven't they? I mean, if we go back in time just to the last one, I don't know if you've received judgment from that.
No, we haven't received it yet.
But
they're in such a predicament. We proved them in fraud. We proved them in their own laws, in unfair trading, 1977, where you're not allowed to change a contract unilaterally. And then we've got them if they actually stuck by that contract in the 1998. I'm hurrying here a bit because I've got the short-term memory problem. So
hang on a second. John, Mark, if can you mute your mic if you're not talking? We're having a lot of feedback.
Yeah, okay.
Not to worry. Sometimes we don't get the best connections. Basically, the judge ran away and hid in the back, Tom. Is that correct? And he said he did notify you by email. Now, I've never heard of anything so ridiculous in all my life.
Well, he wouldn't give me the judgment immediately. He said he had to ponder on it. So he was going to write. So I said, do you do emails? They said, oh yeah, we do emails as well. The reason why I requested that is because I'm not stupid. They would probably send an email to Walker Morris, the solicitors, days before I got it, and then he would have to read out his judgment in open court. So they'd be well prepared. So I wanted the same time. So I got forewarned, as they say, it's forearmed. But it's absolutely ridiculous. That type of hearing should have taken 15 to 30 minutes to see if we had merit to go on to the next stage. That's 6 hours, and then it's now gone past. We're into the second week now. Absolutely ridiculous. They must be really, really in a very difficult position.
Yeah, that's the only way it can be. I mean, they've been faced with an undeniable fraud, yet the system is still, I would presume, asking them to continue as if everything is normal. Now, there must be, as you say, friction within that system, just with trying to do that, Tom. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. I can honestly see asset management, the CEO sitting there getting phone calls from all those other banks saying, what are you doing? I mean, it was only 40, well, let's say 45,000. I mean, the barristers that they took up and the solicitors team would have cost almost that. Why did you just sign it over to them and have done? Now we've got a can of worms and they don't know which way to go. So I think the rest of the banks are putting pressure on them.
Yeah, and I mean, they can't be flexible, can they? I mean, this is it. I mean, they're so rigid and stuck in the way of fraud and deception that when faced with the truth, the judges realise that they're literally committing fraud knowingly at that point once shown the forensic paperwork and the evidence that you have. I mean, I just can't for the life of me figure how they're going to be able to get out of this one, Tom, to be quite fair.
Well, the thing is, the judge and whatever judges sit in the county court are sitting in fraud anyway. It isn't a court.
Of course not.
And what they do to the average man and woman, they shouldn't be able to touch. They touch these persons, as we all know, that understand these things. But the general public, they think they're going in there getting fair treatment, and these people are criminals, and these people should be locked up. And my aim, after all this, will be to get Bradford and Bingley CEO, which is asset management, to be sitting in jail. He has cost people's lives. People have taken their lives over this. They've devastated families. If somebody was out there with a gun and was doing this, they wouldn't be allowed to walk the streets. They're a danger to the public. Well, so is he.
Yeah, and the salt in the wound is that they call it a civil matter, and so they can't go in front of a jury. I mean, it's absolutely insane, as you quite rightly say. They're terrorising people. There's people sitting on the streets and have lost their lives over these kind of matters, and not once does it get a chance to be put in front of a jury. It's absolutely insane.
Well, they think that they're immune to prosecution, but they're not. And this is why the grand juries will be sitting. And you lads, hopefully that's your jobs. Get these up and running properly. I've been talking about this for a while. I want a grand jury sitting in every city.
Yeah.
In these islands.
That's quite right, and this is the aim of what we're trying to do here. I mean, we realise that the jury or the people are no longer connected to the courts. In actual fact, the courts have never been so detached from the people than what we see today. We have in secret courts as far as family courts, you know, and decisions made behind doors and in secret, with the people not understanding what on earth is going on within this system. It's never been so detached from the people than what it is now. And there are statutes still on the books that go all the way back to Magna Carta, which specifically outline that no man or woman should be fined unfairly without a trial, that it's everyone's right to be tried within a jury. But this robbing, thieving system is doing it day in, day out, without any awareness to it really, which is why your case is so exceptional, that it's really shone the spotlight of truth upon this corruption, Tom, hasn't it? Now, the thing with the grand jury, the magistrate courts, I mean, the last grand jury or test that I seen, the decision was made to then take that decision of the grand jury to a magistrate's court, and I'm like scratching my head thinking, well, we all know that these magistrate courts are corporations and just as corrupt as any other, so why on earth would you take a grand jury decision to a magistrate court? I mean, it certainly puzzled me. I mean,
that made me laugh, that did, because I could see the mafia being taken to court, yeah. And after being found guilty, the only one who's going to preside over them is Al Capone.
Oh, I know. It is absolutely ridiculous, but there we go. I suppose we must forgive people for making such mistakes, but the essence of it is absolutely correct. The people have to. There are mechanisms in law which prevent these thieves from running amok as they are. We have to invoke these mechanisms, and you know, the sooner the better. And and part of these are correct grand juries and common law courts. Now, this is the only way to go, Tom, really, and I mean, we think that we have to start off at the bottom. I mean, it's no good trying to nab these politicians, but you can certainly get the judges and, you know, the social workers and the people local within the community, the traitors within the walls of the city, if you like, who are the most dangerous type that is, they're more dangerous than the enemy themselves. Once these people are properly tried with a common law jury of the people, then the verdict is the duty of the people to enforce. Now, if we were to, say, set up secret holding cells all over the country, I don't know, 4 metres by 2 metres would be ample, I would think, and start judging these people, publishing the evidence, getting you know, taking them out and locking them up, and quite rightly so, then this system would soon dissolve. And as it dissolves, the system which is there to protect the establishment, as that crumbles, our courts and jails will become ours again. What do you think of that concept, Tom?
Yeah. I find no fault in that, except maybe it should be a 2x2 cell.
Yeah, I mean, because it's the only way it's going to happen. And I mean, there is no justice within the system. It is there to facilitate the fraud and to protect the establishment. This is plain as day, and your case certainly highlights that, Tom.
The ironic thing is, putting these people in a cell, they actually get a roof over their heads, unlike the victims that they've had, that they've damaged. But if I can, and my wife and my family can promote any movement to get real justice, as they talk about real property that we can't own, real justice, we will do it, and that's what Sue and myself have been striding for a long time.
Yeah, well, the fact that they duck it and dodge in this, it only brings more awareness to the actual case, Tom. I mean, you certainly right in point on this issue, and of course you've got a strong family unit which is there to support you, as well as the nation, it seems now. As you pointed out earlier, the numbers of hits you've been having on YouTube, and I know the support has come from all corners of the country. If not, have you had any international?
Yeah, we're having Canada, America, New Zealand, just South America, you know, just absolutely everywhere. But it's only because everyone's suffering, and the few that realise what's happening and find the videos, not just mine, many other ones, are beginning to awaken to the fact that they're being hoodwinked by I call them the dark forces, and I do think that there's a satanic something behind all of this, because it would not be natural for another person or another man or woman to do this to their fellow human being. It's just not right. They're psychopathic in their tendencies, and demonic. I said they're psychopathic and demonic in the way that they attack the average man and woman, children as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I sometimes think that the interview for these jobs must be the Milgram experiment. You know, the one where they electrocute the fella for getting the answer wrong. And,
yeah.
You know,
the voltage wasn't too high.
Yeah. I mean, these people are prepared to go all the way, and you know, psychopathic is sometimes thrown about, but in this case, this system, it breeds them, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, when you've got no empathy with someone that's suffering, there is something mentally wrong with you. You try and help someone who is in a position. But when I was going to ask the judge to look me straight in the eye, and is he prepared to take my home, my family's home with me, because of what this bank was actually saying? And I don't think he would have looked at my face at that particular moment, but I forgot to ask him that question.
Yeah, I doubt he would have been able to look you in the eye, Tom. I mean,
Yeah.
this is it. When a mirror is put in front of them, they can't stand it. They have to run the other way, and a mirror of truth is certainly what your case is, and there's no denying it. And as you quite rightly pointed out, it's up and down the country, day after day, week after week, across all nations, because this private banking Ponzi scheme, it's like a franchise of private banks across the Western system, isn't it? And I mean, they're all facilitating the same trick of fractional reserve banking, leverage 10 to 1 if not more, with a fiat-based currency running, which, as we have learned from history, a fiat currency only has a lifespan of a certain number of years, and this one is well past its sell-by date. So we are seeing the system implode, and as it does implode, all laws and regulations seem to be going out of the window in order to preserve this debt slave system, Tom.
Yeah. Do you see the reaction of our ordinary Bobby on the street? Is our society so changed that they have put away a 9-inch truncheon to use a 1.5 2 foot batons, tasers, CS gas, and they're arming them? Now, has our population got so dangerous? No. What they're doing is they're protecting the corporation. We're turning in, well, we are into a police state now, and that's been instigated by them. But it's you lads in your common law that I really admire. Speaking to John Hurt and Roger Hayes and Guy and that, and all of the same mindset that we have to bring it in yesterday.
Yeah, you're quite right. But again, it's not ours. It's not anybody's. It simply is. It is the law, and you just know it once you see, you compare the two systems. You know, there's no debate. There's only one way, and that is the just way, where an honest working class man gets a fair crack at it. I mean, we getting judged without even knowing half the time. People's homes are getting stolen off them by the swift movement of a pen by some psychopath, and it's move on, next case, and you're absolutely correct. It can't go on like this, and the depiction of the police shows how over time that they've had to get more and more desperate in order to protect themselves, to the point where you quite rightly said they're half militarised now.
Well, I think they are militarised, but you said something very true there, that this is my memory, I'm sorry, it shuts down from time to time. I really do. It's not Alzheimer's, I promise you. It's I've been through so many operations and drugs and things. And, these drugs were supposed to be for my health, not for recreation, by the way. It'll come back to me in a moment, but they are on meltdown now. And, a lot of people are under the misapprehension that statutes is something that's been invented for civil law, but as you know, they're in common law. They're even in the Bible. So civil law was supposed to run and smooth out the bumps that we come across through our everyday life, but they've mortified it into something to use as a tool against the people to control us. It has to go, that system there.
Yeah, and we are certainly in the death throes of it. And John, Mark, do you have any questions for Tom?
Well, I've just been listening there. You know, it's unbelievable what's happening around the country, especially to you, Tom. And you know, they are hiding things because you know they want to use emails and that to give answers out, and you know, if you know what I mean. But legislation itself is contracts, is it not? You know, when they tell you Do you understand? So legislation is contracts, and they're trying to battle us through them.
Yeah, everything's contracted in their society, and even the word society is part of theirs. I mean, it all goes back to Roman law,
Yeah.
and Roman law has been with us from biblical times, and we've been having warnings from way back then to today not to go under civil law, and we ignored them. They put it in our faces, and they give us promises. When they promise you security at the cost of your liberty, you're a fool if you take it.
And this asset management, Tom, these are a government establishment, are they?
That's right. So what I've got is I've got a Crown representative sitting as a judge, and I've got the barrister representing the Crown. Slight conflict of interest there, I should imagine. Didn't bring it up, but it's at every court anyway.
Yeah, it is. Unbelievable.
Yeah, you can't get justice in their system. That's plain and simple.
I watched a young woman, a single woman, in court over the bailiffs, and the judge was a circuit judge. And when it came to the end of it, cut a long story short, the judge turned around and says, "I can't see myself putting this bailiff out of work." You know, that that was just, you know, mind-boggling. You know what I mean? It's not about saving a bailiff's job. It's about truth and your rights, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there's a chap up at Durham. I spoke to. His name's Brian Nesbitt. I was telling Guy about it. I don't know if it's been publicised yet, but we're trying to help him. And what happened to him, he had an industrial accident. He banged his head. It damaged him. He wasn't really compos mentis for a short time while he was ill. He was suggested to go to Citizens Advice, and they said, yes, you've got a serious case here, and we'll represent you in court. So off he trundled to court, and he turned up, and in front of the judge, Citizens Advice never turned up. So he lost the case, he lost his pension, he lost nearly everything, and the union wasn't helping him at all. In fact, they were putting every obstacle in his way. After this, somebody suggested taking them to court. So he took Citizens Advice to court because he'd lost everything, and he has got a case because it was a blatant misuse of that's not the word I'm looking for. Yeah, there is that, but it'll come to me. So they had a case against them, so he took them to court, and they won. 79,000 they're claiming of him for costs. They're trying to make him bankrupt and take us home. Citizens Advice, these are the people that's there to help us, and considering that solicitors give their free time, huge questions have got to be asked. But this is what's happening in the background. People don't know about.
I think they're all working. They're all in it together. This is why they actually tell you, get some legal advice. Go and talk to the legal advisor.
Duty of care was the word I tried to remember.
Yeah. But this is what they're doing, Tom. They're sending you off. Go and talk with the legal advisor. Go and talk to the Citizens Advice. And they're all part of the same system and follow the same footsteps, if you like.
Yeah, both those words you use, citizen and legal, is things that's not advantageous to a man or a woman. In fact, it's very dangerous and damaging to them. So stay away from those places.
It's lawful we use, is it?
Yeah, and I mean, those, like the Citizens Advice Bureau, as you say, they're all ex-solicitors or working solicitors who've all taken an oath to the bar, which is essentially the Crown. And I mean, it is a total attainment, if you like. This is highlighted in also with websites, especially alternative ones. I remember Get Out of Debt Free. they were approached and were offered a lot of money, you know, in order to, you know, basically keep their mouth shut and guide people in the wrong way, but they they stayed true to their words. I know the same thing happened to deadbeat dads who do a great work with the child support agency and things. They try to incorporate them into their systems, if you like, and you do have to remain honourable to you know, to stick the course and to do the right thing, because when you do get close, they do certainly try flinging money at you, Tom, don't they?
That's right. They base it on the principle that every man has his price. Trouble is, are you going to sell your children into slavery? I mean, Sue and myself, we look at our grandchildren. We're thinking about the grandchildren that's not here yet. Will I look in the mirror when I see what's going to happen to them in 20 years' time and think the money was worth it? I don't think so. No,
and it's already happening without our knowledge or consent. You know, they're making money off every possible way they can think of.
No,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, everything is going to the private side. The minute that a child gets stolen and the social worker turns the key on the car, she's getting paid. The minute somebody gets sent to jail and G4S turn up, this private sector's getting paid. I mean, it's been done covertly, but absolutely, isn't it?
I've just watched a video. Mark Salon put it up on our Facebook page, which is Eviction Fraud of the Banks. And it's absolutely spot on. There's no speaking in it. This chap's just put up the information on the screen. You have to read it. My memory again. It's absolutely spot on. They told us, they warned us, they hoodwinked us, they asked us to stop it, and we carried on and we followed what they told us to do, and now we're in this situation. We've got ourselves to blame.
Ignorant.
But this is the point where we take control of what's happening and don't allow it anymore and take it back.
Yeah, people can no longer afford to be ignorant.
No.
And it's been willful ignorance that has got us in this mess, Tom. You're quite right. Mark, have you got anything to chip in with, mate?
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to ask you there, Tom. You know, you said that they changed the terms of your mortgage. Did they send you out new mortgage conditions that you had to sign or anything?
No, nothing at all. That's why they're caught in the unfair trading terms of 1977. All contracts must be signed, and at that point they came under the 1989 Miscellaneous Act, which meant that both, that's ones that Michael Benicia won with his father up in Newcastle, that there's got to be both signatures. The terms and conditions are supposed to be there at the same time and dated at the same time. 3 of those are fatal, and it doesn't make it a lawful deed. Now, when they claimed that was being changed, and in that little video I put up, you can see in their admission they did not have consent, and I still don't give them consent to change it. So we've agreed that there was an endowment, and as soon as they agree to that, well, they're stuck. So no new terms and conditions.
And what they usually sometimes use, or a tactic that I've come across, I think it was from the Spaniards' work, is that they actually take power of attorney through forgery, of course, and they're able to securitize different agreements and things within the bank that the so-called customer never gets to hear or see the light of day of. I mean, it's an absolute fraud, top to bottom, rife with it, Tom, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's my terms and conditions as well. But that's a hidden agenda, which isn't lawful anyway. So they will lose on, if they ever brought that into court, they want to keep that in the dark for the majority. But anybody battling that knows that there's power of attorney in there, they will be pulled over the coals by any judge, because even the blatant criminals today could not go along with that.
No, there can't be a contract without full disclosure, and there is no contract without consent. And we touched on it earlier. Even these acts and statutes require consent to be enforced, and there are processes of withdrawing your consent through different means that can nullify that. But we also said a word, society, which the definition is mutual people come in with consent. Now, once you remove your consent, or enough people do, then you're no longer bound to the laws of that society, except the natural laws, which is common law, of course. You know, do no harm and do no damage. It's quite as simple as that, and you know, everything else is common sense, Tom, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you can actually, there is a defence in court that you claim that you made a mistake.
Yeah.
And everybody's allowed to make a mistake. When you not in the thing they try to hoodwink us once again is ignorance of the law is no defence. But when the law is drafted in such a way to actually cause fraud, then they're coming under common law.
Well, of course. You know, the thing is this, what people need to understand is, it wasn't so long ago, a few hundred years, that all the laws were written in Latin, and common man dared to speak Latin, he'd have his tongue chopped out. So when the laws have never been there for the people, for we've always been considered chattel and slaves. Now over time they've had to modify it, but it might as well be written in Latin today, because they've just changed all the definitions, Tom, haven't they, in what they call legalese. So up means down, left means right, and it's a total mess. So the normal common man doesn't stand a chance, Tom.
You can actually go into court and ask for a translator, and they'll ask what language. You would say your language. I want everything that you say translated into common English, but they won't do it. But that shows you their system is so simple. They just told us what they were doing to us. We accepted it, and then they changed our language. That's why I originate from the Highlands, and that's why Gaelic was outlawed. I don't know about Wales. It probably would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
Any language that wasn't English had to be restricted or banned, because it's a way of controlling. And now English is the main language of the world. We're trying to control the world through language, through deceit.
Yeah, we done an interview with the historian Lazarus Reban, and I was unaware of that actually, Tom, but Laz pointed out to me that you're quite right. Welsh and Gaelic, if you speak it in the House of Parliament, they don't like it at all, apparently, and that's the reason why, is because it's a true language. You know, it's got no hidden definitions, and they can't facilitate the fraud by using it.
That's absolutely right. Maybe we should, even Old English, thee and thou, and you know, all those words, it's been taken away, and they said, but this is the modern word now. You and yours and me, and you know, I mean, you say you could be speaking to 10,000 people, and everybody think that they've been addressed individually, but you is actually can be used for more than one, where thee and thou, you know, that's exactly who you're addressing. So even Old English was outlawed as well, basically.
Well, I don't know how. Yes, I mean I do know it has to end. It's as simple as that, Tom. There's so much information out there now for people that they can no longer afford to be ignorant, and they can quite easily find out, the truth. And I think there's enough momentum now that they can't stop this. It simply has to end. It's just a matter of time, Tom, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah. Well, on our attempted eviction on the 23rd of July, I said that something remarkable happened. The people here that came, was about 350, and the reports were there. A lot of them were smiling days and weeks later because they didn't know what had happened. And since that point, it seems like everybody's been pushing a big boulder or whatever up to the top of the hill. That day, it reached the pinnacle and went off the other side, and it's picking up and it's getting its own momentum now. The idiots came for our home on the 23rd of January, and they looked at. I was watching the weather as well. I'm not stupid. They looked at the weather. It was supposed to be one of the worst weather forecasts. It was supposed to be snow. It wasn't. It was a beautiful day. They thought that the press wouldn't cover another good story again, good field story again. They were wrong in that. They doubled up their reporting on it. And then a team of absolute numbskull bailiffs parked the cars at the bottom of our the adjacent road in a cul-de-sac, walked off, stayed in a hotel, came back, thought they'd just drive up and take the home. The police didn't even want to support them because they never turned up. So they got there's somebody out there looking after our little family. But it's going on every day. Everything's building momentum. It's coming. They're going to fall. And it was hard on the way up for them. Tell you what, on the way down we'll make it more difficult.
Yeah. You know, I've got in front of me here, Darren, Tom, the Bangalore principles. Do you know what I mean? These judges should be abiding by these and their conduct, you know? And you can actually see, when you hear these things happening, like yourself, Tom, and these judges want to send you an email, it's just not their conduct, is it? They're trying to bypass. They know what's happening. There's no doubt about it. They know what's happening.
It would be questionable if he was a judge, John.
He wasn't a judge, this guy.
Well, some of them, especially in these magistrate courts, no, they're not judges at all.
Yeah, tribunals and that is what we have to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, so much skullduggery going on in the family courts and in these civil courts.
So the judge that was in our case was the highest ranking judge in Nottinghamshire.
Well, I bet he was delighted with that job that he had that morning, because he's jammed and fixed now, Tom, isn't he?
I don't know where he was. He was an hour and a half late for his work. I hope he got deducted off his wages.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I tell you what, if he was the boss, I mean, he made a foolish decision trying to deal with this one. I mean, it's a hot rock to say the least, Tom.
Well, I'd already put him on notice about a year before this.
What's the same guy? The same guy, is it?
Yeah, I put him on notice because he issued. I put null and void claim in. Well, not a claim, notice. And he ignored it, and I put him on notice that I will hold him in his personal
commercial liability.
Custody. Yeah. So he knows.
Well, he'd be under his own full commercial liability and under penalty perjury then, Tom.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Which
so
means
he ignored that and he carried on.
Well, he's doomed now then, because he's been given fair warning, and he's been given all the evidence. He's been shown that fraud is committed, and he can't blame, you know, it was I didn't see it, because gross negligence is the equivalent of fraud, as you well know yourself. So he's well and truly on his way to prison, I would suggest, Tom.
Well, he's presided over all these junior judges, and he must see what's coming in front of him. I'm putting up a new video soon, when I get round to it, explaining. So Mr. Ebert, that guy and myself talk about, he's an absolute genius, and we've talked about when you're going into a court and you lose, and you know what they come down on, it's the merits. So you put your evidence in, it doesn't have any merit. The only way you can beat them is in their procedure. Now, if a judge makes a mistake in the merits, another judge that's in the appeal court will look at it, but he will not go against the original judge. He will not say he's made a mistake. But if he's made an error in the actual procedure, that's fine. Well, this is what this video is, and it will show what they're doing to us, what they should do to us, and what is actually happening, and then other people can look into their own situations, and hopefully it'll assist them.
Yeah, well, this is what you've done right in point on this one, Tom, but you're right at the forefront, and excuse me, this, you know, the work that you and the team and all help you've had is priceless for everybody else. You know, this is for everyone, really, Tom. Yeah.
Well, this is I mean, I'm only putting this out. The brains behind all this is Mr. Ebert, and Guy, and Benicio, and many other. I never mention them in the videos that I do. The simple fact, there's so many, and I certainly don't want to give, in case I forget someone. They're absolutely immense, these people, and they're the ones that the majority of the people that's coming now are standing on their shoulders. It happened in Canada. They learned from that, except Ebert, who learned for himself. Yeah, and if I can learn, and then somebody else picks up the little bit I can put in, it's only tiny, I can tell you that. We've got this nut cracked anyway. It's smashed just now. We just need to pick the shell off it.
Yeah, I agree, and I'd echo your sentiment as far as thanking the likes of Guy and that. He and Linda come down to visit us not so long back. Yeah, they're good people, aren't they, Tom?
Oh, they're brilliant. I mean, I have not got a bad word to speak about anyone who's in our type of I can't call it an organisation, because there's no organised things happening.
Well, that's the beauty of it, because we're all individual critical thinkers. There is no leaders as such. No. They can't control it, Tom, can they?
No.
It's beautiful that way. It's so organic then, and natural. And
they can't get rid of a leader and destroy something. I mean, you take away Cameron, and the Conservative Party would fall apart for a while. Labour Party don't have a leader, or the other one's right now. Only the SNP. But there's something fishy going on there, because one day you got salmon, and the next thing you got a sturgeon. But yeah, we don't have any leaders, and we don't want any leaders. And there are little bits of infighting between different groups, but that's mostly egos, and that's the last thing we need. But as you say, no leaders, and they will not defeat us.
That's it. And you know, as you say, it's a natural, organic movement, and therefore the people who are within it are naturally friendly, and all, you know, and this is it's beautiful, really.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, Sue and myself went to, were asked to talk at the TUC thing about austerity. So I thought, well, I'll tell them about what's happening to us, you know, and what they're trying to do. And brilliant people, lovely people, but the warmth wasn't the same as our meetings, when we go to a meeting, people are hugging and smiling and all day long, you know, during the meeting. Where theirs is a handshake and a smile, and that's it. There is something special about people involved with this.
Yeah, I'd agree. Lads, anything? Mark, John?
Well, I'm just dumbfounded. I mean, Tom, I'm still educating myself, and you guys are really Ceylon and all them, you know, and Darren, of course, you're all brilliant, and this 3-letter thing has helped me immensely, and it works, I must say.
With the movement, I think that'd be a fair way to describe what's happening, because it truly is a shift and a movement, and one of a huge scale. I see it as we are the tide coming in. Funny enough, I mentioned this the other day. We're living in the times of Caligula again, where the law's gone out of the window and the elites are just, you know, crazy. And there was a point in history where Caligula sent his legions out to punish Neptune and whip the sea because the tide was coming in. And I think that's what they're doing now. It's like we are the sea, the tide is coming in, they're going to get smashed against the rocks, there's nothing they can do about it, but they're trying to flog the sea, you know. It's quite a nice way, I thought, of describing the days we're living in.
Was that him trying to get rid of maritime law by any chance?
Possibly, or creating it.
Yeah.
But no, the system's doomed is the essence of what I'm saying. And
every time you say that word doomed, I have a picture of Dad's army and Fraser saying, they're doomed, you know?
Yeah. You've got a picture of somebody from Dad's army there, Tom. Is that the same guy, is it?
No, that's Colonel, that's Corporal Jonesy. I use that because it's Dad's army, you see. And it's very, very weird. Since I put that up, everything seems to... there's so many things that connect with that. I mean, we've got a website, we haven't finished, so we've been a bit naughty. We put it up a little while ago. My son built it, and it's called UK Home Guard. And we were going to put all the information out there to guard your home, and other information.
That's an excellent idea.
Yeah, then my memory's gone, but there is so many things that connect with Dad's army, because right now, well, if you go back to what was I saying, today is VE Day, victory in Europe. The enemy was abroad. The enemy isn't abroad today; it's here. It's attacking us from within, and the Home Guard is now all you lads as well. We've got to guard our homes from the incestuous infiltrators.
Absolutely. Mark, have we got anything to add, mate?
I think Tom's exactly right there, that the battle now is from within, isn't it? The way that since the war sort of the Nazi sort of state has taken over within Britain, hasn't it?
Well, yes, and it's come through this private banking system, really, and you know, it demands to be fed, and we're at a point now where we're printing over $1 trillion a year in fiat currency out of thin air. It's not trickling down to the people. I mean, the inflation has not kicked in yet, but we have printed more money the last 2 years than the previous 200 years of commerce altogether. So that should give people an idea exactly how big this coming crash is going to be, and they are so desperate trying to keep it and hold it together, and it's impossible. Absolutely impossible.
It is, yeah. It's not going to hold together much longer, is it? I mean, it could possibly, like you were saying earlier, the law of averages within the fiat currency says it has to collapse at some point, doesn't it?
Yes, it's done. But I mean, in the meantime, in order to try to keep itself afloat for a few more years, or until they can try to reset the system by, I don't know, the modus operandi in in centuries gone past would be to try and manufacture a world war, you know. But in this is the first time ever in where there has been where this debt slave cycle does come to an end, and it has done many times before through World War, depressions and crashes. This time is different because the awareness is in the equation, and the awareness is huge, and it's through the internet where the first time in history I'm able to talk to Tom and able to talk to John and Mark, and we're able to talk to people in Canada and this, that and the other, and the common people are aware of this con, so they can't get us to send out, or they shouldn't be able to get us to send our children off to fight their battles and to, you know, to rewrite the system again. I mean, that's usually how they try to do it, but I believe this time it's too late. I mean, this internet, it must have got under the radar, because it certainly let the genie out of the bottle as regards to this huge Ponzi scheme, and you can't go back, lads. Yeah.
I think people are waking up fast now.
Oh, it's at a massive rate, as Tom said. You know, the rock has reached the top of the mountain, is now plummeting down the other side, gathering a tremendous momentum.
The snowball only gets bigger as well, don't it, as it goes down a hill, yeah.
Absolutely. Anyway, Tom, any final words, mate, for our listeners, and thank you very much for your time that you spent with us this evening. Would you like to leave us with anything? Where can we find any updates and you know, keep ourselves informed on your situation, Tom?
Well, I'd like to thank you for having us. I get carried away sometimes talking. I get told off for it.
Nah, we got 10 minutes yet, mate, no problem.
Don't start me. But no, you lads are doing a brilliant job. You've got to keep on forcing this common law. You've got to get the courts all over Wales there, because it's been a hotbed of rebellion. Always Wales, like Scotland and the north of England. It seems to be the south of England that has to wake up. But no, you're doing a brilliant job, and you lads came to every eviction or attempted eviction, and even to the court case. So great gratitude to you all. Unfortunately, on the day of the court case, I was running on adrenaline. I wasn't thinking properly. I should have went round everybody and shook everybody's hand.
You'll still be there now.
But no, I had to get to the pub. Be the Scotsman, you say, I had to get up. But no, yeah, absolutely wonderful what you lads are doing, and hold as many courts as you can. Yeah, I just thank you for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure, mate.
Yeah.
And as I say, the key is with the people. There are mechanisms there within law that when a government is no longer representing the people, and if you haven't noticed, we haven't got a government, it's simply a corporation, then there are mechanisms in law to put things right, and it can be done peacefully, and it certainly is achievable, and Tom's case is a perfect example of that. John, Mark, we've got about 5 minutes left, lads.
Well, what I'd like to say to you, Tom, is, you know, I'm Tom Crawford as well.
No, I'm Tom Crawford, John.
No, I'm Tom Crawford, lads.
Now we have Spartacus.
Yeah,
We're all Tom Crawford.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. It's like Spartacus,
Tom
quite right.
Crawford.
It's like Spartacus, quite right. They can't take one of us no more. They can't pick us off as little individuals. Although we are all individual critical thinkers.
Oh, you did ask for updates. Well, that goes on our Facebook page, and that's, as I said, eviction, fraud of the banks. As soon as we know, we'll put it up and get it out there so everybody can see whether they're going to actually do the right thing or they're going to hide in the criminality. So that's where you get the next app.
We'll put it on your Facebook page and we'll get it out tomorrow, gentlemen, is it?
Is it the usual fee then?
Yeah, aye. 3 pints. And we'll also put it on our other mediums, which is obviously the Facebook page and the YouTube channel. Keep up the
Can I
good.
just as well, whilst we're on, can I just wish you all the luck in it, Tom? I really do, from the bottom of my heart. I hope that it all goes in your favour, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Mark.
Yeah.
We're all in this together, really. As I
Yeah.
said, it's not just our family; it's your family and your children and grandchildren. That's what it's about.
Yeah,
That's right, yeah.
Fight
Thank
them all
you,
the way,
Tom.
Tom. Fight them all the way.
I can't see it. They didn't make a wrong move here. But on the other hand,
We are talking about criminals.
indeed. But
Yes, we
Yeah.
regardless, I believe we're too strong now for it to stop. Really, I mean, they are. I'll say that word you enjoyed. Doomed, Tom, aren't they? They're doomed, and that's a fact. So
Well,
again,
that's lovely speaking to you all.
hey Tom, fantastic.
As I say, it's been a pleasure. Anytime.
Yeah,
let's go.
we'll do it again soon. And just to echo Mark's last statement and John's there, the whole of Wales, the whole of England, the whole of Scotland, the whole of Ireland, we're all behind you, Tom, and I know that you know that.
Yeah, I do. I'll tell you what, the gratitude of my family is huge. There's no words that, I've said it before, there's no words that we can express to convey what we feel, but the simple word is thank you all.
Really genuine. People get the feel in the videos that you've done that you're a man of the people, and your case certainly has galvanised the public in a way I've not seen before.
No, I really don't know why, but in fact I was speaking to someone the other day and I looked at my first YouTube and it's coming up to 30,000 views, but then I looked and it had been copied and reissued 12,000 times.
Well,
I really don't know how many times it's been viewed.
Well, yeah, well, we can times that by 30, I would say. So, Tom, how much time have you got this evening? Could you spare us half hour or what?
Yeah, of course I can, yeah.
Well, would you like to, if you wouldn't mind, that is, give our listeners just a brief synopsis, because although the awareness of your case is extraordinary, there will be one or two people who may be just finding out about it now.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Basically what happened in 1988, we took out a mortgage. Myself and my wife, young family, all the hopes in the world to look forward to, dreams I should say, and off we went on our little journey until 1999 when my wife went in to get some further insurance, when the lady behind the counter told her that you do realise you'll never pay off your mortgage. Then she came home, told me, we contacted the asset stripping company known as Bradford and Bingley now, or Asset Management, which is now being taken over by another company, Granite. I honestly do believe that we are now in the death throes of this situation. They're grabbing everything that they can before they basically have to concede to us.
Yeah, I was telling you the other day, Darren, this is all it takes is a parking ticket, and that's it. You've had it, and people don't realise this.
Yeah, I mean, once they get their hooks into you, you're quite right with all these charges. But that was the case with Anne, actually, wasn't it? It wasn't so much the incident that started the whole thing. It was just the accumulation of all the charges and the fines and everything on top. But that broke that woman, isn't it?
Yes, and they stole the land to start with.
Yeah.
You know, this is what started it off, and the 93-year-old woman was trying to get these people off her land but they wouldn't listen. They cut the trees down and
Yeah.
they took the land, and that's what it all begun. And then now it's £67,000.
It's quite a harrowing story. But how are you and the family bedding up anyway, Tom?
Oh, we're fine. We by each time they attack us, it makes us stronger. But there again, we're in an exceptional position where the backing of the public is absolutely being mind blowing.
Well,
every time I say it, I do mean it. We're so grateful for the support we've got, because the average family would have been sitting on the curb outside their home right now if it wasn't for good people like yourselves.
I got to be fair, Tom. I mean, you're
securities, I think it's called. They're passing it from like debt collector to debt collector. So they've got it now, but 1999 we contacted Bradford and Bingley, and they said, oh, we apologise, we didn't realise, but we've changed your contract. We've changed it to a part endowment and part repayment from the original endowment. And they sent my wife a bottle of champagne and some flowers and said it would never happen again, and it was not up to our usual standards. I put up a video if you want to look it up.
yeah.
Titled it The People versus the Psychopaths. So you'll find that there. And I'll explain quite a lot of it, showing the documents as well that are produced in court. Then later on, 2002, they changed it again, and instead of being a part, it's just a total repayment. And we battled them ever since, up to date. We carried on paying up to 2013 August, when we stopped. That was the end. In fact, we gave them an extra payment because, believe it or not, we don't trust these people, so we give an extra payment to make sure. And that's where we're at now after many court cases.
Yeah. And as far as these court cases go, these court cases actually, I should say, they've kind of been hiding, Tom, of late, haven't they? I mean, if we go back in time just to the last one, I introduced you to Mark Banks and John Andrews, both part of the Common Law Court of Wales.
Yeah, well, hello John, hello Mark.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Tom.
It's the way to go, common law. I was just speaking to Guy Taylor, and we were discussing the very same subject. There's nothing else left for us now.
Well, I'd have to agree. I mean, your case highlights how the system has been placed in order to facilitate asset stripping and fraud of the working class man, Tom, basically.
Yeah, it's not just the working class. You'd be surprised the amount of people that know that we're wealthy people, but compared to the sharks that we deal with, they're minnows, but we would consider them very rich people, and they've been robbed as well. So
yeah, I mean,
the class, upper class. Everybody's been under attack now. Yeah,
nobody's safe. We've done a broadcast in the week with an elderly lady called Anne Richardson. Yeah, it's terrible. It goes all the way. In actual fact, there's a fella on the island with the boys are on the island of Anglesey, and yeah, there's a fella on there that's just been hit with a £400,000 fine for storing skips on his own land. I mean, it's horrific. The depths that these people will go to in order to facilitate their greed is just no bounds, Tom, is it?
Oh dear, that's a lot. It's like when you get a parking ticket for £20, and then before you know it, it's in the thousands.
Yeah.
They really are going to town on us. But I
don't know if you've received judgment from that.
No, we haven't received it yet.
But
they're in such a predicament. We proved them in fraud. We proved them in their own laws, in unfair trading, 77, where you're not allowed to change a contract unilaterally. And then we've got them if they actually stuck by that contract in the 1998. I'm hurrying here a bit because I've got the short-term memory problem. So
hang on a second. John, Mark, if can you mute your mic if you're not talking? We're having a lot of feedback.
Yeah, okay.
Not to worry. Sometimes we don't get the best connections. Basically, the judge ran away and hid in the back, Tom. Is that correct? And he said he did notify you by email. Now, I've never heard of anything so ridiculous in all my life.
Well, he wouldn't give me the judgment immediately. He said he had to ponder on it. So he was going to write. So I said, do you do emails? They said, oh yeah, we do emails as well. The reason why I requested that is because I'm not stupid. They would probably send an email to Walker Morris, the solicitors, days before I got it, and then he would have to read out his judgment in open court. So they'd be well prepared. So I wanted the same time. So I got forewarned, as they say, it's forearmed. But it's absolutely ridiculous. That type of hearing should have taken 15 to 30 minutes to see if we had merit to go on to the next stage.